Forging a new axis, Putin and Xi sign landmark strategic agreement in Moscow. By Azlan Adnan, M.A., A Pact for a New Era. In a dramatic show of solidarity amid escalating tensions with the West, Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping signed a far-reaching strategic agreement on 8th of May 2025 in Moscow. The state visit by Xi, timed to coincide with Russia's annual Victory Day celebrations, marked not only a significant symbolic gesture, but also the culmination of months of intensified diplomatic, military, and economic coordination between the two Eurasian powers. The agreement formalizes what both leaders are now calling a comprehensive strategic partnership of coordination for a new era, signaling a determined pivot away from a Western-dominated world order toward a multipolar geopolitical framework led by China and Russia. Victory Day, United Front. Xi Jinping's presence at the Victory Day military parade, a deeply emotive event in the Russian political calendar commemorating the defeat of Nazi Germany, was rich with historical resonance. For the first time in a decade, a Chinese honor guard marched alongside Russian troops through Red Square, a powerful visual symbol of the deepening alliance. The bilateral talks that followed were framed by a shared narrative of national sovereignty, civilizational pride, and resistance to external coercion. The ceremonial grandeur gave way to a closed-door signing of a document that reiterates both countries' commitment to mutual defense, economic integration, and global influence. Strategic and sovereign alignment. At the heart of the agreement lies a shared opposition to what Xi and Putin have repeatedly described as hegemonic bullying. The joint statement issued after the signing condemned the extraterritorial application of national laws and unilateral sanctions, unmistakably aimed at the United States and its Western allies. Xi did not hold back in his remarks, describing the imposition of sanctions and export controls as neo-colonial instruments that have no place in a rules-based global order. Both leaders underscored their preference for multipolar governance through international institutions, but only those that respect national sovereignty and eschew bloc politics. In a critical portion of the declaration, Xi reiterated China's position on Taiwan, calling reunification inevitable, and denouncing any attempts to support Taiwanese separatism. Russia, in turn, reaffirmed its support for the One China policy and recognized Beijing's claim over the island. For his part, Putin thanked China for its stance on the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, which Moscow characterizes as a defense of its historical sphere of influence rather than a violation of international norms. Economic and military dimensions. The agreement also outlines expanded military cooperation. The year 2024 saw no fewer than 14 joint military exercises between the Russian and Chinese armed forces, a trend both leaders vowed to continue. The two sides are expected to increase technology transfers, intelligence sharing, and maritime patrols in contested regions like the South China Sea and the Arctic. Furthermore, the agreement includes provisions for joint development of defense systems, military logistics integration, and the establishment of permanent consultative channels between their defense ministries. Economic integration also featured prominently in the talks. With both economies targeted by Western sanctions, Moscow and Beijing have sought alternative trade mechanisms. The agreement includes pledges to increase transactions in local currencies, deepen cooperation in energy infrastructure, particularly the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline, and reduce dependency on Western-dominated financial systems like SWIFT. Implications for the global order. The 2025 agreement consolidates a long-evolving relationship that began to deepen after the annexation of Crimea in 2014 and accelerated following the imposition of Western sanctions against Russia and the onset of the U.S.-China trade war under Donald Trump's first administration. What began as transactional energy deals and diplomatic support in international fora has now matured into a comprehensive geopolitical alignment. Analysts suggest that the new agreement reflects a desire not just for defensive alliance, but for active reshaping of the global order. While the agreement stops short of forming a formal military alliance like NATO, its scope and tone have left Western capitals uneasy. The unity shown by Xi and Putin, both of whom wield near absolute control over their respective political systems, presents a credible counterweight to transatlantic influence. It also raises the specter of a bifurcated global economy, with parallel systems for finance, trade, and digital infrastructure. Conclusion: towards a multipolar world. The signing of the Sino-Russian Strategic Agreement on 8th of May 2025 represents more than just diplomatic choreography. It is a declaration of intent. At a time when the world appears increasingly fractured along ideological, technological, and economic lines, Xi and Putin have cast their lot together in defiance of U.S. hegemony and Western liberalism. The impact of this alliance will likely reverberate beyond Eurasia, influencing alignments within BRICS+, the Global South, and international organizations from the United Nations to the World Trade Organization. What remains to be seen is whether this pact will foster a stable alternative to Western-led globalization, or whether it will entrench further divisions in an already polarized international system. References. A heartfelt light. To every soul whose hand did give, you've helped me dream, helped me live. In darkest hours your light came through, with hearts so kind, so pure, so true. Your gifts, like stars in deepest night, have steered me gently toward the light. Each coin, each word, each silent prayer, a thread of hope, so rich, so rare. My eyes once dimmed, now seek the skies, and slowly, clearer visions rise. Because of you, I dare to see the world again. Its grace, its plea. Your compassion's flame will not just stay with me alone. It lights the way for others wandering through despair to feel the warmth of selfless care. You've shown what love in action means, in quiet ways through giving scenes. You've built a bridge from soul to soul and made the broken feel more whole. So let this thanks rise like a song, a melody both soft and strong. May your example gently call more hearts to rise to give. To fall into the joy of lifting pain, of planting hope where none remains. Your kindness walks beside me still, a light, a love, a living will.
don't forget to hit that subscribe button to show your support.